I don't think anything ever goes the way I think it's going to go. It either goes far better or far worse. And I think this was a really good example of it going far better and then me feeling worse after in some weird way.
Well, every single time that you shoot for something that you've never done before, reach a new level, next level you're going to get data, you're going to get information, you're going to get feedback about yourself, about other people and the world, and then you have to reassess kind of everything.
Next Level Nation, today for episode number 2031, we're going to do a little event recap. So we're recording this on Monday. As you know, Saturday was Next Level Live 2025, our first purely virtual event. What do you
Woo!
got? Woo!
Next Level Live 2025. Yeah.
And I think
that was something.
It went really well, all things considered.
My water bottle smells terrible.
You got to wash that thing.
Yeah, I did recently. I don't know.
Dishwasher?
No.
There's your issue right there. What do you just... I know you. You probably put a little soap on your finger and scrape it around a little bit. That ain't it, son. That ain't it. All right. Quick context. This is going to be a very short episode because I'll speak for myself. I'm still recovering from the event in terms of like catching up to what seems like normal life. So just going to preface it with that.
Same.
But event went really well. We rented a conference room, much smaller than we expected, much more noisy than we expected. The lighting was just absolute dog shit. So we ended up using a hotel room instead of the conference. I think it would be good to give our top takeaways. My top takeaway is that almost nothing is ever going to go exactly the way that you want, but oftentimes the resistance parts or the points where you get stuck are actually the biggest pieces of growth and can help you be more aligned anyway. And it's almost like, I wonder in the past how often my expectations ended up jeffing me because I thought my expectations had to be reality. Where this time, you and I were like, this is not going to work. We're in trouble. All right, Alan's like, let's go check out the hotel room. Yeah, this is actually better, all things considered. All right, that's done now. Well, I'm not even thinking about the conference room. That's done. That whole thing is now, that chapter is closed, and then we're on to the next thing. I think in the past, I would have ruminated over the fact that I thought we were doing it in the conference room, and I think that was a win for me this time. Flexibility.
Yeah,
I've been trying to work on that. Flexibility. Be more flexible. Be more flexible. I've been trying to work on that.
Well, sometimes you get disappointment. How well do you handle disappointment? Because speaking as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a dream chaser, even any goal that you go to set, even if it's a fitness goal, you get injured. Damn. You go to buy that thing, you think it's going to work, doesn't. Damn, okay, this isn't what I thought. I think that life is, as depressing as this is going to sound, it's constant disappointment when you have goals. And how do you handle disappointment? What is your relationship with it? So there's a couple quotes from the event that I think I wanted to share here that my brain's been on fire since the event has ended. So it was 6 hours long. We had a first half hour Amy opened, then it was hour breakout session, hour breakout session, hour breakout session. Then it was Q&A. And so 6 hours of personal development and success, your own unique version of success. The best content I think we've ever presented. Yeah, not necessarily the best I've ever presented content. No, but it was, I actually do think it was very, very, very strong, all things considered. The best we've ever done to date. A couple quotes that I've talked to Emilia. She was there. She was in attendance. And I asked her what the most powerful things were. One of the things that I thought really landed well was the idea of the consistency piece, which is, if all of us, I said this at one point at the event, if all of us were to get together tomorrow, hypothetical world, and work out for 9 hours straight, that would not change any of your lives. But if I took that same 9 hours and cut it up into half-hour increments, and we exercised, all of us, got a little fitness accountability group going, and we all exercised for a half an hour a day for 18 days, which is the same amount of time, same time, but spread out, that might create a new habit. And that new habit could change your life. And it's little things like that. This was another quote that came to me. I wish I had said it at the event, but I didn't. Success is not about doing 10,000 things. It's actually about doing 10 things 10,000 times really, really, really well and getting better each time. Just little things like that. I think the cool part about being in this space of personal development and fitness and coaching and training and podcasting for 10 years, 10 years for me, 8 years since you and I got together in business, is you just see these patterns. And another thing I said was consistency is necessary but not sufficient. Consistency is something that I think self-belief would be number one. Consistency would be number two, which aligns with discipline and work ethic. Number three would probably be self-worth and social courage. Put yourself out there. These fundamentals they're everything. Listening to one episode of NLU is not going to change your life. It could change your thinking, which could change your life, but it's not really. If you listen consistently, it will. I mean, that little tweak, this 15-minute episode, it can change your trajectory. It's not going to change your whole life, but it can change your trajectory. I think that just was so blatantly obvious to me.
It's small things, yeah. It's small things. It's somebody comes to an event and they have a good experience that brings them to do another thing like that. There is just a drastic difference. Amy and I were talking about this. There's a drastic difference between somebody who is really into growth and somebody who says they're into growth. And I think that's like that with anything. There's a drastic difference between somebody who is into fitness and says they're into fitness. Like somebody who is actually into fitness and somebody who says they're into fitness. And I'm not making that wrong. I'm just using that as kind of an awareness thing or a perspective thing. I had this thought when you were talking. What's the difference between a disappointment and a surprise? Usually a surprise is connected to positive. It's like, oh, I'm so surprised. It's the same thing. It's just a different emotion attached to it. And I think if you can adjust the emotion, there were a lot of surprises. But I don't think I was like disappointed about. At one point, housekeeping knocked on the door like 2 or 3 times. They actually opened the door. I was like, whoa, my bad. I wasn't disappointed about that. I was surprised because I haven't stayed in a hotel in a long time. I usually stay in Airbnbs. I like Airbnbs better. So but I used to stay in hotels all the time. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Of course this is a nice hotel. Of course they're gonna come try to clean the room. Like that's what they do. It makes total sense.
Yeah.
So that was a takeaway for me. There's a big difference between disappointment and a surprise. And I think a lot of it is the attitude you have about it, the state you're in. I think that's another piece of it. That was something that jumped off the page for me.
You want pleasant surprises. You want things to go well, and things can go well, and sometimes you are pleasantly surprised. If you're really optimistic like me, not as often. But if you can't, it's almost like if you can't handle consistent disappointment when you're headed towards your goals, you're not going to be able to get success.
And you have to make sure that you also are able to get potentially consistent positive surprises and not let it get to your head. Because there's both.
Yeah, nice.
How many positive experiences, like how many positive surprises? There was a lot of them. But they weigh each other out. They balance each other out over time.
Hello, NLU listener. Thank you, as always, for listening to Next Level University. Real quick, I just want to jump in and let you know about the Next Level Dreamliner. This is a journal that I use every single day. Achieve your dreams 90 days at a time. It breaks down your dreams into goals, milestones, and daily habits. We hope you enjoy it. The link will be in the show notes. Well, how far does that pendulum swing, right? So you set a goal, you go for something, and then it goes better than you thought. Does that go to your head and you get cocky? Okay, it goes worse than you thought. Does that go to your head and you now don't believe in yourself? You got to stay. That's one thing that's very obvious at this stage is that pendulum metaphor is really something. Because you just said you're a little low because you're coming off a high. Kevin and Amy, we had some tears of gratitude flowing. It was in the Q&A. It was really powerful. And you went pretty intense with your grit there was a question Emilia asked about grit, and I was so proud of Kev because he's a very gritty individual for sure. And you really let that out this time, what you're fighting for and your past and all that. I thought that was awesome.
I appreciate it.
But absolutely, man. Yeah, that's the goods. That's the goods. That's the real reason we got here. Let's be honest. Right?
It's a massive piece of it for sure.
Yeah, huge. And the tears of gratitude are wonderful, and that's sort of the high. But then, Monday, all right, back to work. It's back to work, right? That was great. That was awesome. Social media, boom, 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 hotel, travel, great. Okay. But I unpacked my stuff. I got to set my stuff back up because we used my system for the event. And it was, okay, time to redesign my life from this new sense of awareness. And when I set my life back up for success, when I redesign my office, when I set my office back up, I need to make it better this time. When I set the house up, I want to do it a little better this time. I talked to Emilia on the walk. Okay, what did we learn at the event? What are we going to do differently? How am I going to say things differently? I want to create a list of sort of one-liners that I think are really powerful. I have a few, if you had a friend who broke as many promises to you as you've broken to yourself, the 10,000 things versus the 10 things 10,000 times over time type of thing. Like, I'm going to start curating some of those. There's just a bunch of tweaks I need to make now. But when you get home, you have overwhelming gratitude on one end. You have a bunch of things that went wrong on the other. And you're just sitting there letting your brain chew on all of it. And my brain just goes to, okay, that was the best we've ever done. That's great. And what's next year going to look like? And what is tomorrow going to look like to build toward next year? And it really is exhausting. And I think that that's okay. We have to make that okay. It's okay. Goals are exhausting. That's why most people don't achieve them.
I had, so I got to the hotel early. I got to the hotel, I think at 6:30. No. 7:30? 6:30. I think I got there at 6:30. I got up at 5. Yeah, I got there at 6:30.
I think I saw a picture of you. I hadn't even left my house. And I think you were already there.
Probably. Yeah, you got there at 9. Yeah, I was already. I had been there.
Yeah.
So I
got there a little earlier than 9, but yeah.
Yeah. I got there and I was in the conference room working, and I got an email from a client the night before that was like, hey, we Jeff something in the clips that we asked for. Can you give us more clips? Can you change it? And I did one, and I emailed them and I said, I'm literally on stage, for lack of better phrasing, in 2 hours. I'm going to have to get you the rest Monday. But even that was such a new level of pressure of,
yeah,
there's so many other things. Yes, this is the main thing, but it really can only be the main thing for the 6 hours we're doing it. And then immediately there's another main thing. It was very, very stressful for sure. More stressful than anything else because of the things orbiting it, but less stressful than it's ever been before. Sorry, more stressful than any other events because there's so many things orbiting it. Less stressful than any other events purely from just an event standpoint in a weird way.
Yeah, because not everything's riding on that one thing.
Right.
Yeah. Real quick, I know we got to jump, but I wanted to ask you, Kev, at the beginning of this journey, didn't know what business was like, didn't know what dream chasing was like, that kind of thing. What would you say, what you just achieved, live event, what we just achieved, live event, people all over the world, virtual, thank you, Christina, holy crap, virtual event coordinator on the team. It was a dream come true. We had the moment, we always look at each other and go, we give the fist bump of, this was at one point a dream. Yeah,
Amy
this
got
was at one
Amy
point.
got a
Did
video
she?
of it. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
I haven't seen that yet, but a little fist bump of at one point. Remember when we talked about this? It looks a little different than we thought. But what would you say to young Kev about what it actually takes to achieve that dream? Because what comes with that dream is tremendous pressure and all that. I guess what would be the thing you'd say to him?
You do not get to step up to the plate in public unless you've stepped up to the plate behind the scenes thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times. That's part one. And then part two is, it doesn't matter how well it goes. It matters how well you get back to doing the other stuff after.
I know.
In a weird, it's like, it went really well. Great. Today, that doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter.
I know.
There's no time to really... Now, again, we're fast-paced, and it's pedal to the metal. I'm not saying you have to do it the same exact way we do. But there was... There wasn't any celebration, really.
Yeah.
Saturday night, Alan took calls. I got home, and there was UFC on. I was like able to actually get in bed at a reasonable time. And I told Taryn, I was like, I think Alan has 3 coaching calls after this. And she was like, he makes me like physically sick, like the way he shows up. And I was like, same. But even that, it's like the event ends, we unpack, and then Alan goes and does his one thing.
Yeah.
The event ends, we pack. I'm in WhatsApp, making sure that clients are taken care of, which is great. It's a great problem to have. This is exactly what we wanted.
Yeah.
It's just way more stressful than I thought.
Yeah, nice. It's a great problem to have. Is a good way to frame it, because it is amazing, and the other side of the pendulum is it's a lot of responsibility, and you can't have one without the other. So, yeah, man, fire. And I appreciate Terrence saying that too. I do. I think I feel very seen in that. And dude, ultimately, I had that moment too of these coaching sessions matter a lot. They don't not matter just because we have an event. Like this is important. That's my number one most important thing is one-on-one coaching. So and the one-on-one coaching for the last 7-8 years, starting out with fitness coaching, is part of what built that. So we're not going to stop the thing that built it.
If anything, it matters more.
I know.
It's weird. I'm sure we'll do a part 2 debrief of this at some point. We just wanted to make sure we're both kind of going through it in our own internal ways, and I thought it would be just better to talk about it rather than trying to put together some specific episode that doesn't pull us, because if it doesn't pull us, it's not going to pull you, and it's probably not going to be that valuable. So hopefully you found value in this. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. At NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep it next level. Next Level Nation.